all, greetings from the apocalypse. So I did some filming during the week in the studio, but I thought it might be good to do like a little intro and give you the background of what we're doing. We're making a molten ring, which is literally just take metal, melt it, and you have a ring. We carve a ring-shaped divot into our charcoal block. I mean, it won't end up actually being that size, but it just gives it a place to start. And we take all our little kibbles and bits, you know what I mean? Silver that's got like sterling and fine, and it can have solder on it, whatever it is, and we melt it and make a ring. It's a great use for your scrap, and it's just really fun to make. And they're completely unique because you'll never make two alike. And I don't know, we used to make them in the studio years ago, and they're just super fun and satisfying. So that's what I'm going to be showing you. It takes a while to really learn how to control the metal. So one of the things that I think is really beneficial about doing something like making a molten ring is that you start to really understand how the metal wants to move, how it doesn't want to move, and what you need to do to make it do what you want it to do. So I think molten rings are a great learning experience, just watching metal as it's hot, what it does. It's very helpful, and the reason that I'm a little better at shaping it than the students is because I've done it more, of course, but I've just spent a lot of time observing the metal, so that makes me better at being able to predict what it's going to do. So by making these rings, you get a little better at predicting what it's going to do. So I have it separated into a few parts, but today we're going to be just like starting to get the basic shape and adding metal. It's literally a charcoal block with a groove carved out in the shape of a very basic ring, a water bowl, and a chopstick to poke it when it's hot. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you have questions, of course, put them in the comments. Okay, so we've got our tweezers, we've carved out our charcoal block, and we've got some silver. I cut up some, but we've got more, and we'll see how much we need, okay? Literally, we're gonna take some of this, and we're gonna melt it, and we're gonna poke it with a stick, which is super, super fun. So I'll just start with some. Spark up a torch. Okay. Now I have a chopstick in some water. It's not like you're really gonna hurt the chopstick, but a flaming baton tends to distract people quite a bit. So I usually kind of keep dipping it. I mean, there's nothing more fun than melting metal.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Because literally, we're gonna melt and we're gonna poke. Yep. You have to kind of pull this away. I'm gonna heat this up a little bit more.
I'm sure it's not that easy. That actually does look kind of difficult.
Well, but the great thing is, you can play with it and play with it and play with it until you're happy with it. So you see how you can kind of drag some away?
Yeah.
Okay. Add a little more in here. To me, this is like mud pies for grown-ups, you know? It's like...
Totally.
Do you see what I mean? You can kind of melt a little and pull a little, and then we'll add a little more. And you can't mess it up because you just keep going until you're happy with what you have. Try to pull some of that off of there. But you wanted yours pretty chunky, right? So you see you can like put them together like so.
Are you melting silver?
Yeah, we're just making a molten ring. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
You can't do it wrong because even if it ends up in one big blob, we just separate the blob and reshape. So just work on adding from the end.
Okay.
Because if you just keep your heat on it too much, it'll just make one giant ball, which again, we can deal with, but that's not what you want. Because a big part of what you're learning when you do these molten rings also is like how the metal moves, what it wants to do, what it doesn't want to do.
Right.
Because as you learn that, you're able to control it a lot better.
Yeah, this is too big right here.
Okay, so here, let me demo that one little thing.
Okay.
Let's pull some out of there. So I gotta kind of like get it hot and do some poking. See what I mean?
Yeah.
But the reason that I'm a little bit more effective than you are is just because I'm used to melting metal and I know what it wants to do and what it doesn't want to do. But you learn that from doing this. That's why I'm saying you can't do it wrong, because we'll just keep going until we have something that you like. Now, as you can see also, that your ring is not going to be round on the inside, but we'll forge that on a ring mandrel so that you have a nice soft inside, so it's nice and comfortable.
It's really cool.
It's just melting metal is the most, you see what I'm saying? You can like heat it and pull it a little bit.
I love it.
See what I mean?
You're almost done.
So just play, you know, and have fun with it.
And this is a piece I can use,
Yep.
right? I like chunky silver.
Fun, right? I like jewelry you can feel.
Yeah, I like the weight.
And I'm going to do some pulling. See what I mean? But if I'm like in there like this, like right on it, it's just going to want to ball up. So you have to kind of pull back a little and just watch what it does. It's going to move. And you start to kind of understand it a little better. And also, each one of these will act a tiny bit different depending on what the ratio is of sterling to fine silver. You know what I mean? So they all have their own little personality. So you see how it's coming now?
Yeah.
Usually what I try to do is work my way around, because if you're working the same sections over and over again, you'll kind of just keep balling them up. Let's see if I can pull that out a little bit. Okay. Now let's get the ends together. And then let's like fool around a little bit with this, and then we'll put it on a mandrel and start rounding it out. Okay. So you see what I mean? It's just, you kind of play with it and poke at it.
As long as you know the temperature, that it will not be melt like this. You keep this like in strong shape and still didn't melt.
Well, it is melting. I mean, literally this is a molten ring. So it's fine silver and sterling, which is why we can like melt and remelt and do whatever we want with it. So you're gonna let it cool, we're gonna pickle it. And then we're gonna put it on a ring mandrel and we're gonna like, we're gonna forge it really good to get the inside really well, to get the inside nice and round. And also then, so there's nice soft spots right next to your fingers so that it's comfortable. Okay. And we can polish, you know, there's all kinds of things, we can hammer it. We can do all kinds of things to shape it, but basically, that's how you make a molten ring.
Cool, and it will have all those like little nooks and crevices.
It'll have whatever on there you want it to have.
Okay.
If there's anything that's uncomfortable or sharp, we'll polish it off.
Got you. Awesome.
Okay? So, I mean, this is a great use for your scraps also, because literally you can just like save up your scraps and make,
Oh, right.
yeah.
And clearly, even like let it cool for a while before I put it in the water.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I find that sterling really likes to crack if you quench it immediately. So usually what I do is I let it cool a little bit, put on a steel block, and then if you want, put it in the water.
Okay.
Because if you get in the habit of quenching too soon, sooner or later, you'll take some sterling really hot, you'll pop it in the water, and that shit will crack, which sucks.